Roll. Larry Krueger with you on a Monday, recapping 49er football. Niners beat the Seahawks in the wild card game on Saturday, and if you were driving around on Saturday morning between 11 and 1:30 going into the game, and you had it on 95.7 The Game, you heard our next guest, Lo Neal, future Hall of Fame fullback, did it for years, and this guy's going to Canton, and he joins me on the 95.7 The Game, or I join him on the 95.7 The Game pregame show, and he joins us now on the live stream to help us break down a little review of 49ers Hawks. What's up, Lo? How are you, man?
Larry, it's great, man. I'm rolling down south, getting some stuff in. Big weekend. Football was at its high. I mean, every game was you holding on to your seat, except the 49ers and Seahawks after the second half.
Yeah, exactly. Well, before we get to that one, let's hit on some of these other games. Why don't we start with Bengals-Ravens? I don't know how much you saw of Bengals-Ravens, but Bengals beat the Ravens in Cincinnati. They're hooking up with Baltimore next round. Baltimore was plus 150 in total yards. Baltimore held the Bengals to 234 total yards. But, man, the big play was Huntley trying to go over the top in the goal line. It was a fumble. Cincinnati took it back the other way for a touchdown. That was the ball game right then and there.
No question, Larry. Me and you, we talk about it week in and week out. Whoever usually wins the turnover battle usually win football games. When you look at Cincinnati Bengals, think about where they won the turnover battle, and that turned out to a victory. Listen, you look at Huntley jumping over the top. Why? For what? For who? Do what you're in there to do. Quarterback sneaking. You have two guys behind you. They're going to push you in the end zone. He saw what old Trevor Lawrence did on Saturday night against the Chargers, so he wanted to go over the top like he's Michael Jordan, and he got met by Mutombo at the top and fumbled the ball. All he has to do is stay low and wait for the push, the cavalry, to push him in the end zone, because Baltimore Ravens, let me tell you, Larry, I didn't see that coming. Baltimore outplayed them. They were physical. They ran the ball. I didn't think Baltimore was going to stick around with the Cincinnati Bengals. They did, and they had an opportunity to win the game, but turnovers lost it for them.
Well, and you know, the thing about the Ravens, Lo, they have no receivers. They let Hollywood Brown go to Arizona. They drafted Rashad Bateman, but he's been hurt. You know, Baltimore's got Andrews, the tight end. They got J.K. Dobbins, but they have no wide receivers to speak of.
Right. You're absolutely right. And that's why I was shocked. When you look the way they held down Chase, you look at the way that they kept the quarterback, didn't let him just tear it up, didn't throw the ball all around the park, and Cincinnati was playing at home. I'm telling you, Baltimore gets an attaboy for me. That was a physical Baltimore Ravens team. They said, let's play keep away. Let's limit the amount of time possession for Cincinnati Bengals. Let's keep the ball out of his hands, and let's play physical type of football. And that's what the Ravens did. If the quarterback doesn't make that foolish mistake and trying to stick the ball up where guys can knock it out and let them push it in the end zone, I don't know if Cincinnati wins, even though there was a lot of time on the clock. Baltimore Ravens was playing good defense.
Yeah, I mean, give Tyler Huntley credit. He played hurt. He had a shoulder injury. He had a wrist injury. But, man, those two turnovers led to 14 points for Cincinnati. That was the difference in the game. All right, let's jump to Bills-Dolphins. Bills beat the Dolphins. They get Cincinnati up next. Josh Allen, definitely made several incredible plays. He had the touchdown pass to Gabe Davis was just amazing. An absolute thing of beauty. But the story coming out of this one is Mike McDaniel, the head coach, the rookie head coach of the Dolphins, is supposed to be a genius. He couldn't get plays called on time. He couldn't get the plays in on time. I mean, he looked like a rookie head coach.
You know what, Mike McDaniels, you're absolutely right, Larry. When you talk about what he did as far as the game management, he burnt up timeouts because he couldn't get the plays done. He was the rookie coach. His team came ready to play with the backup quarterback, with the team that was kind of beat up, and they went out there and they played their ass off. And it's unfortunately that the head coach had too much on his plate for a playoff game, because I'm telling you right now, the Miami Dolphins, they were in that ball game and had a chance to win it late.
I know. I mean, you think about it, Dolphins in this game against Buffalo, in Buffalo, and Skylar Thompson at quarterback, Buffalo should have ran them out of the building, but instead They hung around, and then McDaniel blows it at the end. He can't get plays called in time. He just looked like a rookie. All right, let's jump to Jags Chargers. Chargers were up 27 to nothing and lost.
Larry,
you played for the Chargers. This one hurt you personally.
It hurt me, Larry, because on Sunday I left after you and I got finished with our great pregame. I left feeling happy. I tweeted out. I talked to my boys. I said, "In Larry, I trust," because look, I didn't think they were going to win without Mike Evans. I didn't think this team could win because you didn't have your top receiver. I thought the Chargers played against a team that I thought was a little bit better, Jacksonville, especially playing on the road. I was shocked that the points were that way. But then when they went up 27 to nothing, let me tell you right now, you look at Staley, his coaching staff, and they have to look at themselves in the mirror. You're up by 27. It's no way you're supposed to lose that game. It's no way you're supposed to let a team come back and beat you. You play keep away, and that's what happens, Larry, when you're in the playoffs. If you're up by 27, if you can't play, if you got to play basketball on the grass for the rest of the game because you got to have Herbert carry you, then something's wrong. If you can't run the ball, that's the type of game you look at the play clock, you run it down, you run the ball, you play action, you get the ball in your receiver's hand, quick passes, and you let those guys continue to make plays. This game was unacceptable. The biggest disappointment, the biggest blowout. I can't believe that the Chargers had this team dead to rights and they allowed them to come back. Somebody's head should roll. I don't know who, Larry, but somebody.
Yeah, no, Brandon Staley, come on. You get beat in the second half 24 to 3. You could only get a field goal in the second half. And I don't know what to say. Tom Telesco is one of the best general managers in the game. He knows talent. Justin Herbert's a star. Austin Eckler's a stud. Keenan Allen's a monster. Rashawn Slater's a really good offensive lineman. Derwin James is probably the best strong safety in the game. You've got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa off the edges. Asante Samuel is just a ball hawk. He had three picks in this game. How do you have one of the best corners, one of the best safeties, two of the best linebackers, one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best running backs, some of the best receivers, and you can't do anything? The Chargers ran it low for 2.9 a carry, and the Chargers can't stop the run. The Jags ran it for almost 6 yards a carry.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you this Chargers got to press the reset button. Either with coaches, find out what you're going to do. I don't know who's going to be. I know everyone talks about the bloodline and the gene line of the offensive coordinator. You know who the offensive coordinator is for the Chargers, but something has to go. Some coach, some offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, somebody's got to go because you cannot blow a 27-0 lead, and you can't just allow a team to outscore you 24. Defense didn't play well enough. Offense didn't play well enough, but it starts with the head coach, and he's got to get this thing fixed because I'm telling you, the Chargers played well enough to win that game, especially when Jacksonville spotted them 27 points.
All right, we got one in the chat here. Third String All-Pro says none of the top AFC teams look dominant this weekend. I agree. That's a great takeaway. I mean, Buffalo's at home against the Dolphins with their third-string quarterback and their life and death to win the game, and they wind up winning by one score, or they wind up winning by one field goal at home. Josh Allen against Skylar Thompson. Give me your takeaway as far as, do you agree with that? Is who's getting out of the AFC? Is it Kansas City? Is it Buffalo? Do you give Jacksonville a chance? Do you give Cincinnati any chance?
Honestly, it's a coin toss because right now you'd have to say, let's just go with Kansas City, because what Buffalo have shown us, and I agree with the guy that's in there that made that call, that no dominant team. I expected more out of Cincinnati. Let me tell you, I thought Cincinnati would go to Buffalo and handle business, but when you watch the way that they struggled with the backup quarterback from Baltimore, and Baltimore with no receivers, like you said, and just with a tight end in a physical game, and they actually handled the Cincinnati Bengals at home, I was very, very, very shocked with that performance. And then you look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen, man, he made some big-time throws, but he gave some opportunities away, interceptions, and the things that happened. And the Miami Dolphins limped into the playoffs, couldn't score over 12 points against the Jets a week ago. When you think about the Miami Dolphins and where they're at, and you think about how they were able to go into there and play, either two things. Either Buffalo played flat, and Cincinnati thinking, okay, Cincinnati and Buffalo said, hey, we're going to get this done because we're understood. The game got canceled because of what happened. We understand the field. So they're like, This is the game that everyone wants to see. This is the game, though, I'm telling you right now, I think this game is going to have more ratings than any football game that's going to be on next week, because you know what happened several weeks ago with Demarius, having on the field against the Cincinnati Bengals, falling out, and Jackson, then the Bengals and Bills didn't be able to finish that game. So I think you're going to have a huge amount of eyes on this game, anticipation of what it's going to look like. But I'm with the caller. The AFC, there was not a dominant team, and we got to see what Kansas City's going to say about that.
Bomber T says, I'm thinking the Bengals are going to knock off the Bills. You know what? I don't doubt that. Thomas B in the chat says, give the Chargers to Jim Harbaugh and he'll have them in the Super Bowl. What do you think? Should the Spanos family bring in Harbaugh in LA and let him run the show down there? Give him control.
Tell you what, why don't I get?
I love Telesco.
I love Telesco too, but maybe I call Jim. Me and you call Jim and say, Jim, let's throw your name in the hat. I love Jim. I've been down there to Michigan, helped him recruit kids. I haven't brought Jim to Fresno and let him see some of those Valley kids from the Central Valley there. I know what it's about playing football. I love Jim. When I was with the Chargers, he was at their University of San Diego coaching, would always come by the staff. Been knowing Jim for a long time. And I'm going to tell you right now, that wouldn't be a bad call, because I'm going to tell you one thing, he'll make them physical. And when you have a quarterback like that that's mobile, that can run, Herbert, all those different things, he's just as mobile, more agile without a doubt than Colin Kaepernick. I'm not saying he's faster, but he's more agile and more niftier than Colin. Colin's a little stiff. So when you think about Jim Harbaugh and what he would bring, the type of play action, the type of physicality to the Chargers, who says no?
Why do you know this subject better than most? Why Austin Eckler's a terrific player. Why do the Chargers have such a hard time running the football?
Yeah, I think that Austin Eckler's a very good player. I don't think he's necessarily a physical. I don't think he's tough. He's tough. He's mean. He'll give you everything he's got. But you need a bell cow. You remember when LT, the great LT, was there in San Diego? LT could run through guys, run over guys, but he would shake guys up and miss them. But then they'd bring in the closer, Michael the Turner Burner, and a physical downhill run guy, spring next. And you got to have a two-headed monster like that. I just don't know if the Chargers are committed to the run like that. They run the ball just to say, we have to run it because we got to sprinkle in. The Chargers have to change their mindset, and it's a mindset. It's an attitude. Think about the Lion, Larry. Lion's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest. But you know what makes him the king of the jungle? It's his mentality. The Chargers have to change that mentality to say we're going to be physical. Larry, I'm fired up this morning.
Low Neal unleashed on the Bay Area roads. All right, we got a couple of specific questions for you, Low. Brandon West says, is Low Neal a Niner fan over the Chargers? I mean, Low Neal played for the Chargers, so we got to remember that. You're always going to be a special fan of the teams you played for, and you played for a number of teams. Who did you grow up rooting for? That, in my opinion, is your team. But then I'd love to know who you consider your team.
It's crazy that the texter, the caller in there and said, hey, who's his favorite team? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't necessarily have a favorite team. I have favorite. I remember Dan Fouts 14. He didn't even go to that 7-step drop. He would backpedal out of there. Larry, you remember 14 Danny Fouts, and Eric Carr.
Went to my high school.
Head coach. Come on. I absolutely grew up loving the Chargers. James Brooks, number 2, the Lionel James, the Drake Chain, Chuck Muncie, number 46. When Chuck was even, he was leaving. I remember Chuck Muncie, what that guy can do. I even have old Chuck Muncie on speed now. Rest in peace, Chucky. But I loved him. And you had, number 80, the receiver, the tight end, Kellen Winslow. Loved the Chargers. So I grew up being a Charger fan. I remember Kellen Winslow blocking those 5 field goals against carrying him off the field. So I grew up being a Charger fan. They just never had any defense. And right now, that's what the same thing they're witnessing. But I'll tell you, so I grew up being a Charger fan, love the Chargers, love what they do. But now I love football and watching the Niners. You know what I love. I love the fullback mentality, love what Cal Juszczyk brings to the game, being a part of the Bay Area sports and being there and being up close and personal and playing against John Lynch, playing with John Lynch in Tampa Bay. I do love the 49ers, and I would have loved nothing more, Larry. You know what I said. I wanted to see the Chargers and Niners rematch in the Super Bowl. But, hey, trust me, I love the Niners because they're physical. They play my style of football.
BV50 says, Low, who is your all-time greatest fullback? He says, hopefully it's Tom Rathman. Heck, it may be Low. Low, this is your position. I mean, you studied this position. Who's the greatest fullback who ever played?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think he's a fullback, but I love Jim Brown. They got him mounted at fullback, but I don't think he would. And then
He's a running back.
yeah, and Franco Harris, what those guys did. But I'm gonna tell you right now,
Roger Craig.
I love Roger Craig, but I love Rathman 44, High Nean. I loved John Riggins. Love to watch John Riggins 44 with the Washington Redskins at the time. I know we can't say that. I know it's not political, but that's what they were at the time. And I loved Johnny Riggins. Guy would be bleeding. He was behind those hogs watching him. And hell, man, in the modern day, I loved Mikey Allstott. He's on speed dial. Me and him, we talk all the time. You think about the best running fullback in the league. To me, it's hands down. I think Mike Allstott is on a very, very short list, maybe the greatest running fullback in the league. When you talk about blocking fullbacks, hey, if you talk about receiving fullbacks, let me tell you, that caller who texted in there, I got so many different criteria that I put it into, because as a fullback, the best receiving fullback without a doubt should be in the Hall of Fame is who from Arizona Cardinals, Little Larry Centers, caught 100 passes in 1 year. What he did. If you're talking about the best running fullback, Mike Allstott. So for me, it varies. I love what Tommy Rathman brought to the table. Tommy Rathman could block, he could run, he could catch. So loved him. And then when you're talking about guys that could block, guys that could get downhill, that just would spring next, I love watching them play. Corey Schlesinger, Detroit Lions. Me and Corey used to look at each other, and he played kickoff return, and I played kickoff return, he played kickoff. I remember running down, I was on kickoff return, and Larry, he pointed at me. He was coming down to make the tackle. I pointed back. I said, let's go. No fair dodging. He and I hit like two rams. My head still hurts thinking of that. So I love Corey Schlesinger. But hey, I love what Sam Gash was, a great blocker. Moose Johnson, a great blocker.
Yes.
Moose, what he did, how Moose was selfless, how he got in front and work. And then, hey, look, I'd be remiss that I miss, a guy that played over there, where, over in Seattle, a team that the Niners put this hammer down on. Max Strum, love what he brought to the table. Sam Gash, Max Strum, you name it. I got so many fullbacks that love the way that they play. I'm remiss if I didn't mention T. Rich for the Kansas City Chiefs. So there's so many fullbacks that are different dimensions. It's hard.
Couple guys who are my favorite. I loved Bar None from the Niners. Love me some Bar None. And he wasn't a fullback, though, but I loved the Tyler Rose, Earl Campbell. I would say Earl Campbell's the greatest power back I've ever seen. Looks like Lowe's a little frozen here. Do we have Lowe frozen? Let's see. Maybe we can reconnect with Lowe. Why don't we do that? I'll send you a text. Maybe we can reconnect. Let's see here.
Let me get back in a better area like Larry. I'm driving, so hopefully he'll come back so you can just keep talking. And when I get in a better area, can you hear me better? And then I'll continue.
Yeah, we got you. We got you now. Actually, you're good. But maybe you could reconnect and we can start this thing. Not start it over, but we can get you back on and get your line a little better. He's driving around the Bay Area. Neal, Larry Krueger with you on a live stream as we talk a little weekend football. Mark Graves says, "Love your passion, Lowe." You think he's passionate now? Wait till you hear the 95.7 The Game pregame show. I mean, Lowe is just all energy all the time. The Krueg Show. Hit the like button. Let's increase the views on this stream. That's right. We're normally coming at you in the evening. We don't come at you in the midday that often, but today we're coming at you in the midday. And now we've got Lowe back with us. Lowe, so we're telling people, like and subscribe. Hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. Subscribe. We've got almost 11,000. We got over 11,000 subscribers now and headed towards 12. And subscribe. This is the kind of content we're bringing you. Connor Maurice says, Lowe, don't blow a blood vessel. Yeah, Lowe's fired up. Hey, okay, let's get to the Vikings-Giants game yesterday. I thought this was the most interesting game of the weekend. Okay, the Vikings were at home with Kirk Cousins. They're the 3 seed. Giants are the 6 seed, right? Or is that right? No, maybe I got that one wrong. Yeah, no, it was the 3-6. That's right. Yeah, they're the 3 seed, and the Giants were the 6 seed. So now with the Giants winning, the Giants are the lowest seed alive, and they go to Philadelphia, and the winner of Dallas-Tampa comes to the Niners. But let's get into the Giants-Vikings. Lo, what did you think of Giants Vikings? Give me your rundown on the game.
Yeah, I thought that you look at the Giants, I think their quarterback, he was an unsung hero. But you think about the Giants, what he did with his legs, I thought they ran him a little too much at times, but he was the hot hand, and he was able to carry his Giants team to victory. He's going to need that type of performance again if he's going to go into Philadelphia. But the Giants, they just seemed like they wanted it more. The Giants, they were just a little bit more physical. When you think about the Giants and Vikings, that game, Kirk Cousins didn't play bad. I thought the Giants just had their numbers. The Giants, they did a great job of taking away one of the best receivers in the game. They didn't let him have his way. Yeah, he caught some underneath stuff, but they didn't let him take the roof off the building. The Giants played a very, very competitive game, a very, very physical game. Hopefully they can get, Saquon Barkley. I expected more out of him. I mean, great run early in the first quarter, but he's going to have to do more, especially in Philadelphia. You're going to need more from your barrel cow because Philadelphia is going to be able to score some points. I thought the Giants, though, that out of all the games, I thought that would be the upset when you think about it. The Giants, because Minnesota, they haven't played great this year. Minnesota, 9 games that they're trailing single digits, they end up winning 10 of those games, because 10 out of 10, and it's one score game. So they just, the magic ran out. So I thought the Giants was a better team, and it wasn't a big disappointment.
I mean, I'm shocked that this Minnesota team finished 13-3. I mean, I
Me
really
too.
am. I mean, that just shocked me because their defense was awful. I felt like I was watching a college bowl game. I mean, they weren't even in the picture half the time. I mean, seriously, Daniel Jones is playing really well. He ran for 78 yards. He ran for 7 first downs. Now, 2 of them were quarterback sneaks, but 5 of them weren't. And the Giants get their first playoff win in 11 seasons. The Giants kept the drives alive. They were 9 for 15 converting on 3rd and 4th down. But Minnesota's defense is a total mess. And, the other thing I think that was really interesting is that the Giants held Justin Jefferson down in this game. They targeted him 9 times. Cousins did. He connected 7 times, but for 47 yards. I mean, I thought there was a chance that he would have had 150 plus yards. He had no touchdowns, 7 catches for 47 yards. So I thought the Giants did a great job on Justin Jefferson. The other thing I thought the Giants didn't get a single sack, but they hit Cousins 11 times. And Dexter Lawrence hit him 4 of the 11 times. The combination of Dexter Lawrence inside, who's a true 2-gapper, and then Kayvon Thibodeau outside, they've got 2 guys there on that front that you have to double team, that take combo blocks. And I think the Giants, I'm going to say it right now, Lo, the Giants are going to Philadelphia and they are going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm very confident in saying that. The other guy that I got to shout out here is Berean Christian's own Isaiah Hodgins from Walnut Creek. This guy, he played at Oregon State. He's on the Bills practice squad. They tried to move Tre'Davious White from IR to the active roster. They had to waive somebody. They waived Hodgins, but they liked him and they wanted to stash him on their practice squad, and the G-men scooped him up. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. He doesn't have big speed, but he's got crazy hands. He's very smart. He's very competitive. They threw him 9 balls. He caught 8 for 105 yards and a touchdown, and he just kept moving the chains. And, man, Isaiah Hodgins is a big-time player. And when I look at this game, I think the Giants won partially because they held the ball for almost 34 minutes, and Hodgins just kept moving the chains. And when he wasn't, Jones was, and when he wasn't, Barkley was. And, man, I mean, this Giants team is so well coached, Lo. I think they're going to go into Philly, and I think they're going to beat Philly. I really do. What do you think?
It wouldn't pull that upset. It wouldn't surprise me. But
we don't have a good connection now. Now we're bleeding out on Lowe's connection before we even get to the Niners. Well, let's try to do this one more time. Let's try to reconnect with you one more time. Let me remove you from the stream for just a second, and Let me see. Let me see if we can get you going. Let me see. I'll send him a note. Just have Lowe reconnect one more time and see if we can get him on a little bit better line before we get into the Niners and hopefully get some breakdown on the Niners. Khalil Young says, I hope you guys are correct. Bomber T says, I see the Giants knocking off Philly. I mean, think about it. Philly's not healthy. The Giants are playing well. The Giants have a really, really good defensive line, and they've got Saquon Barkley, who looks great. Daniel Jones, who's playing at a top level. Now, granted, it's against Minnesota, but man, you look for, and then what does Minnesota do? We got to ask Lowe about this too. Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell, whether it's Kevin O'Connell or Kirk Cousins, it's 4th and 8 on the final play of the game, and you throw a 3-yard out pass to a tight end who's being blanketed underneath. And you're expecting Bellinger to bust? You're expecting Hawkinson to bust that tackle and somehow make 5 more yards? I thought that was non-competitive. We add Lowe here to the stream. Lowe, are you back with us? Well, for some reason it's a little frozen. So we'll put you back in the green room. I don't know if we can get Lowe going here, but if we can, Lowe, if you could reconnect one more time, that would be awesome. But yeah, I like the Giants. The Giants are playing well right now. The Giants are rested. As I said, they got 2 guys on their front line that have to be double teamed. They did a really nice job in their secondary against Justin Jefferson. They've got Saquon Barkley who can run the ball. Daniel Jones can really run. I mean, Daniel Jones is a threat. If you give him any avenue at all, Daniel Jones is going to take it. So, this guy couldn't get out of his own way for the first couple of years. But now, I mean, they held Minnesota to 61 rushing yards. Well, we got you back.
Yeah.
First of all, what did you think of the final play of Giants Vikings? They need 8 on 4th and 8, and Cousins said he thought he was going to get sacked. He threw underneath to Hawkinson for 3 yards, and they lost.
Yeah, and no matter what, Cousins, that's a bad decision by Cousins, and that's why sometimes you talk about Cousins. You said in every big moment, you always said, what has Cousins did? That was a moment where no matter what, you get the ball, you push it downfield, hope for pass interference, give a receiver a chance. For him to check down, I didn't think that was a good decision. But if you look at the Giants were able to dominate time of possessions. The Giants just jumped on Minnesota. And Minnesota, yeah, they battled with them. But you can see the way that the Giants was controlling the clock. You see the way the Giants was controlling the tempo. And you saw Minnesota trying to blink. It just looks like when I look at the Giants football team, they are saying, look, we can play anywhere, anybody, and they believe it. They're like their head coach. You look at the Giants football, their head coach. You look at the way how he's tough. You look at how he walks around with that mantra. He's infectious, and his team believes. They went into Minnesota. They didn't respect Minnesota. They expected to win that game. And like you said, you're going to Philadelphia, a Philadelphia team that you're going to try to hit Jalen Hurts. You want to make sure you hit that shoulder. You want to make sure, test it out. You want to keep him in the pocket. I want to see the Giants. Who's going to spy? Don't let this guy beat you with his legs. Make someone else other than Jalen beat you. You got to keep him in the pocket, and you got to shut down the run. It's going to be a great matchup. I think the Giants are going to go in there and play a physical type of game. Don't know if they're going to pull it off, but I tell you right now, I think that they have a heck of a chance, like you said, Larry.
Well, and Brian Daboll did something that I think is a smart move. Kenny Galladay's making a ton of cash. He's a veteran. He's got all kinds of stats, but he hasn't played. He's played like crap for them. So he sits and he's playing Isaiah Hodgins, who he picked off the street. He's playing former Niner Richie James, and he's playing those guys over Kenny Galladay. So I think Daboll deserves the coach of the year. I really do. I love Shanahan and the job he's done, but Daboll, the Giants haven't been to the playoffs in 11 years. They win 9 games. They're 9-7-1 now. They're headed to the second round of the playoffs. I think Daboll deserves some praise, and I think they're going to beat Philly. I really do. I think the Giants are. I think it's going to be one of these things where Niner fans are going to go into next week going, man, I hope the Giants can knock off Philly. Then they're going to watch the Giants knock off Philly, and then they're going to be like, oh shit. Now
What
we got
kind
to
of
face.
revenge, though? But Larry, what kind of revenge? Think about it. 4 years ago, the muff punt where the Giants came in and the Giants beat the Niners to keep them from going to a Super Bowl. A year that the Niners had it. It looked like it was all precedent. They were going to the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, you had a guy back there who hadn't been catching punts, drops the punt. The Giants win the game. The magic happens. So when you think about it, wouldn't that be justice? Bring on the Giants, Niner fans. Bring them on.
Well, it's interesting, too. Roy Boy says Niners have trouble with mobile quarterbacks. Planet Serpo says Cousins is just not the guy. I'll tell you a little subplot from this. What if the Minnesota Vikings decide to trade for Trey Lance from Marshall, Minnesota? Maybe they feel like Cousins isn't the guy after watching this. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Kevin O'Connell took the blame at the end, but that was non-competitive by Cousins. You cannot check it down on 4th and 8 to a tight end who's covered 3 yards down the field. You can't.
No, you can't. But that's interesting. You talk about Trey Lance. Do the Niners say, "Hey, let's trade him"? Here's the deal. I don't know if I'm moving him yet, though. I don't know if I'm moving
him yet either. But
because
if I'm Minnesota, I know I want him.
Oh yeah, no. I totally agree with you. But this is what I noticed, and we'll get into it. When I watch Purdy play, and I understand, hey, look, the second half they motorboated him. They came out the Niners and said, "Let's stop playing around." They pulled around and messed around on Debo's leg and gave Debo a little tug on the leg, and the team woke up. They came out flat. They thought that Seattle was just going to lay down and be a sieve. Seattle punched them in the mouth, and they realized they were in a football game. But I'm going to tell you what was neat watching the game. I noticed something about Purdy. I think the guy can make these throws. I think he's a good quarterback. I watch Purdy. If you're going to pressure Purdy, pressure him from the middle. If you can push him in the inside, what happens is Purdy can't see downfield. That's why I'm watching at times. So I said, let me find out. Let me look and see how would I come after the Niners. If I'm someone playing against the Niners, I would push him from that A gap. I would push him from the A gap and tell my contain guys, keep him in that box. Because if you're not firm in the pocket, if the Niners allow people to, even though they're blocking them, but allow them to push and give up too much ground, Purdy has a hard time seeing, and he's quick to want to roll out of the pocket for him to see. So I'm watching certain things, and I'm like, okay, if I'm the Niners, I gotta firm up my offensive line. Sometimes I want to do some 3-step drops. I want my offensive line to cut guys and get their hands down, because if Purdy can see, he's dynamic. But when that pocket starts to come into his face, he has open receivers, and he can't get the ball up because he can't see, and he's throwing off his back foot. Saw that early in that game. Had 2 guys open. You had Debo running the deep 6 come over, and you had Ayuk going down the field, underthrew, had 2 wide open receivers. So I saw looked at some of the time, not that he can't get the ball to him, but sometimes that pocket collapse on him, and I don't think he has the vision that you would like. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem later on in his career.
It is interesting. Purdy, of course, the last pick in the draft, and he's looked incredible. Yes. He's 6-0. I mean, you could argue he's 7-0 if you want to give him the Miami game. He's also 1-0 in the playoffs. And Saturday, he completed 18 of 30 passes for 332, scored 4 touchdowns, set a rookie record for a playoff game. What do you think, Lo? I mean, do you need to see more? Is he the quarterback of the future? Do you need to see more? What does he need? What does he need to show you to make you believe that he's the guy?
Oh, I think he can start in this league. I just don't know what is he. I don't know if you had him on a lackluster team, what could he carry the team? See, with the Niners, he doesn't have to carry the team. All he has to do is make sure he distributes and say, look, I'll distribute. I know where to get the ball to. So I think he's shown signs of greatness without a doubt. Right now, I'm not saying, hey, look, do I think that this guy is going to be better than Trey? I don't know. I can say that he's shown that shown that the lights doesn't get too big for him. He's shown that he's capable. But I want to see, and that's what I saw when I was watching this week. I saw some times where the pressure, not necessarily pressure, but the pocket started to shrink on him, and he didn't necessarily. No one was trying to sack him, and he just got out of there because he can't see down the field. So I seen that can be something that could be a hindrance, and we're going to see if teams are going to start saying, if I'm going to pressure this guy, we have to contain him, but pressure him from the middle and get some hands up because he wants to get outside. And I see Shanahan trying to move him outside the pocket and do certain things because when he's outside the pocket, You saw that. He's dangerous. He sees the whole field. He'll let it go. He's unbelievable when he's outside the pocket to me, and I think that's his strength. And I think you're going to see teams say, let's make them play in the phone booth. Let's keep Purdy in the phone booth and make him throw the ball from the pocket with hands up in his face. I think that's the remedy, and I think teams are going to try to do that. That's how I would come after him, because besides that, the guy's been unbelievable. Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I was muted. I muted myself because I had to cough for a second. I didn't unmute myself. I was saying that when the Niners when the Niners are positive or even on the turnover margin, 14-0. When they are negative turnovers, 0-4. It means everything. Take care of the football means absolutely everything. And Purdy, by the way, Roy Boy points out 9 of 11 in the second half. The one that stood out to me, Lo, was the last one where, Purdy, it's the fourth quarter. They're just trying to tack on. It's 3rd and 10 from the 13-yard line.
Amazing.
And he goes to, he scrambled left, and then Quentin Jefferson hits, he throws the perfect dime to Ayuk, and Quentin Jefferson smoked him on the play, and then the Niners had to go to Robbie Gould. But I mean, we're talking about play action, bootleg, corner of the end zone, flat dime on a 3rd and 10 play, just a perfect dime. They wind up settling for the field goal, but it wasn't Purdy's fault. He hit Ayuk in the hands. I mean, that was a special play. The other one I thought was really incredible when Purdy found, was it Elijah Mitchell?
And
it was 2nd and goal from the 7, and he looks to Ayuk, but he was covered at the snap. This is off the play action fake, and then so he was under some Seattle rush, and so he pivots, the Purdy pivot, and he looks back right, and he sees Elijah Mitchell, and then he gets it to him, puts it right on his hands, easy 7-yard pitch and catch, excellent improv skills. Then he completes the 2-point conversion to Kittle to make it 31-17.
But he
that essentially iced the game. It was an incredible play.
He did that play twice, though. That improv play was twice because, hey, you remember he hit McCaffrey in the first quarter on that busted play, scrambled the same thing for McCaffrey for a touchdown? The guy was amazing with that. He's looking, trying to buy time. McCaffrey's over there by himself. He finds a way. Purdy is incredible. What he's been able to do, and just his patience and saying, hey, look, I'm sticking with it. I love what this kid is doing. This is a rookie sensation that came in that understand he's on a phenomenal team, and he's getting the ball to his playmakers. He's making things happen. Love the kid, what he's been able to do. He threw that dime. That was an absolute dime that he threw to Ayuk. Ayuk should have caught that pass in the corner of his own, but his ability to buy time and find things, I'm telling you right now, if I'm his agent, I'm like, look, this is what I need. I know the guy's in his rookie year. He's on. The Niners are in great shape. But if without a doubt, I'm like, look, I need $40 million. Give the guy $20 million, and then pay him. And then you give him $20 million. So his salary is only going to be about $7 million a year. I think that you do that for the next 4 years. So now you have him for you got to tear up this contract. If he's outplayed this contract, you can't put that guy. And he's like, look, he might be on the bench. I get that, but take care of the guy and say, look. You got him for the next 3 years. So for the next 3 years, you give the guy $20 million up front, and now you're going to be averaging about $7-8 million a year for the next 3 or 4 years, and he's good. You got to take care of this guy and put in the clause that, hey, look, win a Super Bowl, something. What if he wins all these playoff games, and of course you get a couple of them. But the Niners, if they don't come with a bag of money to say, hey, look, we're going to sit down and restructure. We're giving you $10 million signing bonus, and we're going to let you at least make you a backup quarterback money. I'm telling you, something has to happen this offseason, Larry, because the guy has done too much to just say he's got to play this rookie contract out, because the moment that he's in is too big. What is a Super Bowl and what is playoff wins worth?
There's two rumors that are out there today. One is that the Commanders have a lot of interest in trading for Trey Lance. The other is that Tom Brady has a lot of interest in finishing with the Niners. Has Brock Purdy accomplished enough where if you're John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, you say to the GOAT, thanks, but no thanks? Or do you look at Tom Brady coming here as, hey, you know what? Bring him here and let Brock learn from the master for a year, trade Trey and go that direction and have a Purdy, Brady, maybe Josh Johnson QB room next year.
Oh,
how do you see the Brady? If Brady wants to finish here, do the Niners tell him no because of what Brock's already done? Or do they say, come on in, more the merrier?
It's come on in. What is Brock Purdy going to do if you bring in the GOAT? If you bring in the GOAT, what is Purdy going to do? Say that should be starting over him? Tom Brady's seen more football than this guy's been alive. Tom Brady knows where to go with the football. Tom Brady, you think Purdy's been amazing? He has been pretty amazing. I get that. But now you got Tom Brady with Ayuk and these weapons, and you're talking about a team getting better overnight. You're talking about Tom Brady in this offense, and now he's able to get – and I think what you talk about, but you still got to play Purdy, no question. So that would be the only way. Trey has to be – if he's going to be trading for a first round, and I get that. If it's the Washington Commanders, whoever it may be, but I definitely go get another guy. You know, Jimmy G's not on this team anymore, won't be on this. So I definitely, with Tom Brady, that is the guy without a doubt that I say, you know what, Tom, we welcome you in, play another year, get this guy, let this guy watch behind you, and how much better would he be?
Well, I got one for you. I really believe in this, and tell me what you think. I think the 49ers lost the Super Bowl to the Ravens because they called a timeout at the end of a long drive and allowed old, Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Bernard Pollard and some of the old hands on that Ravens defense to catch their breath, wipe their face, get a drink of water, and play a last couple downs for the Super Bowl. And I think it cost the Niners. The Niners were the faster team. They were the better conditioned team. They were the younger team. If they hadn't called the timeout there, I think they score the touchdown and win the Super Bowl. I bring it up because I thought the key play in the key sequence in Niners Seahawks came in the third quarter. Seahawks are down. It's 23-17. If they score a touchdown, they go up 24-23. They're having an extended drive. They're down inside the red zone. And I thought the Niners low caught a huge break. What was it? At the end of this long drive, Austin Blythe, the offensive lineman for Seattle, had an injury. There was an injury timeout on the field. The Niners, I thought, I was looking at them before the previous play. Everybody's got their hands on their hips. Everybody's got their hands on their knees. They were gassed. It allowed the Niner defense to catch a breath. And then the next play, it was Geno Smith. Basically, it was a penalty for an illegal man downfield. That led to 2nd and 14. On 2nd and 14, he threw a fade to Metcalf that went incomplete against Charvarius Ward. So that set up 3rd and 14 for a rested Niner defense at the end of a long drive that should have been gassed, should have been tired, had no ability to call their own timeout because they had already wasted it. And they got a break because the injury caused the timeout, gave them a second breath, and then a Menahue on an ET stunt where they end up 3 guys on the right side and Ebukam on the left side, and a Menahue playing defensive tackle as he went second. Ebukam shot the gap first. He came around and got his big mitt on the ball, popped it out. It sat on the ground for a second. Bosa fell on it, and the place erupted. Biggest play of the game. 49ers really didn't look back from there. But to me, it was the timeout afforded the Niner defense that allowed them to kind of get that wind that enabled them to mount that big pass rush on the 3rd and 14 play. You've played the game. You've seen these guys. You've seen a tired defense and how they play, and as opposed to a fresh defense. How vital is it for the defense to get a blow after a long drive in the red zone like that? It seemed like it really benefited the Niners.
No question, it benefited the Niners, and it's unprecedented. I've been on teams where you had Sean Phillips and Sean Merriman, two outside pass rushers with Stephen Foley, and these guys are tired and they're on a long drive, and the defense can't get off the field. Peyton Manning's getting the ball 3 steps, getting it out of his hands. Guys can't get to the quarterback. You watch them just frustrated, hands on the timeout, and someone happens, and then you see a recharged team. Just that 1, 2, 3 minutes during that timeout, go to TV timeout, and guys get fresh, get hydrated. Without a doubt, it benefits the defense. I think it benefits the defense greatly because usually the offense get in front of those guys, and when you're tired, you have no leg drive, you have no push, so the offense guys just get in front of them, and now they just start playing dancy and just trying to jump up to knock the ball down, but they have no push. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that was a huge part of that game. And it really, really ignited the Niner fans, and it ignited the 49ers just as a football team.
Give us your breakdown tonight. Tonight we get Dallas-Tampa in Tampa. The winner comes here next Sunday for the right to go to the NFC Championship game. Give me your breakdown. Dallas can score points. Tampa's only scored 30 twice this year, but Brady's 7-0 against Dallas. Pollard's got a thigh injury. Zeke's looking old. Dallas has got some O-line problems. Prescott's throwing picks. You can run on Dallas. I don't know, but then Tampa doesn't run the ball that well. But Brady's got Mike Evans, and he is at home, and he's never lost to Dallas. There's a lot of factors tonight. Some people look at this and just say, you know what? Dallas can score at a level that Tampa can't score at, and they'll just go with Dallas. Other people look at Dallas and say, you know what? They're a little bit of a fraud. What are we going to see tonight? Dallas and the Bucks.
Well, I think you're going to see a game. I think it's going to be competitive early. I just look at this team and I'm like, look, Tom Brady is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's be real. You know that. You see the way he's carried this team. His offense has been a sieve. His offensive line, he's getting his center back, but his offensive line giving up more hits, more sacks than anyone. His left tackle's been the most penalized tackle in the league. I'm telling you right now, the Dallas Cowboys lose this game. And I love Mike McCarthy. He's a personal friend. Remember hanging out with him in the Pro Bowl, having a good time when he was coaching for Peyton. But I'm telling you right now, if they lose this game, head should roll. The Dallas Cowboys have to go in a new direction, and they have to get a new coach. They got to figure out some things. It's too much talent. Even though it's Tom Brady, the magnificent, even though it's the ageless wonder, Tom Brady, it's not even arguably, but the greatest quarterback that ever lived, the greatest quarterback of all time. And then, of course, Joe Montana. I understand, Niner fans, you like Joe. I love Joe
yeah,
too.
Be careful.
But I know, but if you be real, I don't think that Tom Brady should have a chance. I think that Dallas, in spite of some of the injuries, the Dallas Cowboys should win this game, even though they're playing in Tampa. So I got next week the Cowboys coming to. How about them Cowboys coming to San Francisco, which you love it, and that's what football needs to be. It's just one of those old rivalries that you can't miss. We already took care of Tampa Bay, and I want the best for Tom. Tom's going to end up maybe winning a Super Bowl next year when he goes wherever he's going to go. But I'm going to tell you right now, Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers is great for TV, and this could be a great showdown. Two teams that don't like each other, but two teams that have so much history, and that would be fitting if it's the 49ers. So I think it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys winning tonight over the Tampa Bay. I think the score is like 28-17. I think the Cowboys just too much offensive fire.
Who is the easier team for the Niners to beat? They've already beaten Tampa, but I heard Brent Jones say about a month ago, and I agree with it, that I think that he thinks the Niners match up really, really well with Dallas. So who do you think's the tougher opponent for the Niners next week?
Well, I think like you said, Tom Brady's always going to have that Tom Brady factor. I think
sure.
I think Tampa Bay's defense at times can be played lights out. But at times I don't think that they have a great pass rush. So I think that I think the matchup that I'd like to see is the Cowboys. I think that the Niners is just too physical. I think that they'll wear the Cowboys down. I think that I want to see the Cowboys. I think that the Cowboys at the Niners, when the Niners are rolling, and they'll be rolling because this will be the NFC title game, and especially if you think that the Giants are going to take care of Philadelphia, there's no way, whether it's Tampa or the Cowboys, either one of these teams, in my opinion, stay within 10 points. I believe right now, if the Cowboys or Tampa, either one comes to town, I believe, I'll make a bet with you right now, Larry, dinner, How about a dinner or a margarita that our Harris Ranch beef patty? I'm going to tell you right now, either one of these teams, it's 9 or more. Spread.
This is a man who can drink Bloody Marys with the best of them, Lo Neal. All right, here we're gonna finish up with just one word games. I'm gonna name a player, and you just say whatever comes to mind. We'll go just stream of consciousness. Okay, I just want your reactions. These are all gonna be Niner players. Deebo Samuel,
dog.
Brandon Ayuk.
Finesse.
Okay. Juwan Jennings.
Consistent.
I think money. When I think Juwan Jennings, I see the color green.
Yeah, money. Yeah, green, money. Third down, phenomenal. Yeah, like
how about Brock Purdy?
Legendary.
Is
what
Brock,
he's doing? What he's doing is legendary. Let's be real. What he's doing,
incredible.
Legendary.
Yeah. Are you amazed by Brock Purdy? Because to me, the one thing that we didn't know that we're all finding out together, this guy is an incredible competitor. And that part we didn't know. And now we know.
I think that. And it's competitive. He competes. But I like that he's smart. I like that he's conscious. I think he's competitive. We get that. The guy's competitive. He'll go out there. He's not afraid. He'll get, but not just that. How about his competency, character, competency, being able to having the ability, critical thinking, all the different things that he brings to the table. That part that people think, okay, God, he's a gunslinger. Oh yeah, he competes. But I think it's competency, man. Surprises and so many. I think his competency is under measured.
Nick Bosa,
the glue. If Nick is not going, this defense is not a great defense. Nick Bosa makes this defense great. He makes spectacular. He's glue.
Eric Armstead.
I think he's missed consistency too. What he does in the middle, you can move him up and down the line. He's just a guy that you know he's going to make some plays. If Armstead is going to be consistent, he's going to make plays. I watched the guy on double teams. I see how low he is. He's became way more physical. He came in the league. People say, he's soft and all these different things. And now he hit his stride. The guy can take on double teams. He can put in the backfield. He pushes the pal. He's great at splitting double teams, and he's around the ball. He's consistent.
Couple more. Dre Greenlaw.
57, baby. He's Heinz 57. Greenlaw's all over. He just boos on you. He hits you. He just oozes on you. Greenlaw is a guy that's around. That's why I love it. I love 57. He's just green. He's just all over you.
Jimmy Ward.
Crazy man. I like him, man. He's crazy. He's reckless and he's relentless, but always under control. You love Ward.
At the end of the first half, Kyle Shanahan says he shouldn't have squibbed it, should have kicked it deep. So he kind of took some blame for that. Jimmy Ward smoked Geno Smith. And a lot of people said bad play. Why? Because it led to a field goal. They kicked the 56-yarder. They had the lead at halftime because of that play. But then a couple of my hardcore Niner fans buddies were like, you know what? Jimmy was sending a message, and they would trade that 3 points for that message. You're a physical guy who played this game incredibly physically. Did you look at that as a gaffe? Did you look at that as a message sent? Do you? I like Jimmy Ward because I think he sets a tone. Or let me ask you this though: if you were a Niner player, would you have said something at halftime to Jimmy for the hit that he had on Geno?
Oh, man! If I was a Niner player, I was like, "Come on, man! We need you, but man, we need you to be. Hey, I don't mind you trying to hit someone because you're gonna tattoo people. I know who you are, Jimmy, but man, we got to be smart. Come on, we can't self-inflicted. I'm saying, bro, self-inflicted wounds, man. Come on, Jim, you better than that. Jimmy, you better than that. We're gonna win. We got your back, but you better than that. After he gets the penalty, he's feeling down. They say, bro, we got your back, but you better than that. We got you. But because you got to realize, it's just he's physical, he's crazy. You don't want to take away his intensity, but at the same sense, you got to make sure that, hey, look, we can't do that. You're playing Kansas City Chiefs here and a team in a tough those 3 points can matter even more. You played a team, look, you came out flat. You played a team that was able to run the ball the first half and stay in the game. You played a team that shouldn't have been close, and you end up covering and doing everything. That was the worst playoff game of the series. Yeah, the first half was interesting, but the Niners came out and tried to let them stay around, didn't dictate, didn't dominate, could have came out running, being a lot more physical. The Niners let them stick around early. That game was not going to be close, and you saw it second half, the Niners dominant. So, yeah, I'm just saying Jimmy Ward can't do that in a big-time game because you know it can come back to bite you. That's all.
If I was saying something to Jimmy, I'd say, Jimmy, play fast, play physical. I love that you play on the edge, but show some composure and let's play smart. Give me the one 49er that you wish you were a teammate of. Who was a guy that you wish you had played with that's on the Niners?
Yeah, you know what? Believe it or not, huge check, but we play the same position because I just love his heart and his determination. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would love to block for McCaffrey. Because I know how physical that I played. Linebackers trying to come out. I don't necessarily, Juice can get in front. He tries to stick and say, I'm an earth mover. I'm knocking guys out. I'm like, let's ride. I'm like, dude, I would love. He's like, like I told you, kind of reminds me of LT. What thing you do, but I as a teammate, I think Fred Warner's just class act guy. I think Fred's a guy that that at practice would go against one-on-ones. I love Fred Warner. I just love his whole aura too.
Juice, by the way, lives in the infrared room. I don't know if are you familiar? Did they have the infrared when you were there? And have you ever done it? What does it do for you?
Oh my God! It hydrates you on a cellular level. The infrared is great, so it's gonna I get infrared. It helps you sweat. There's a company out there. If you get a chance, it's called Larry. It's called Hot Works. Go work out in there, and it's infrared. And when you get in there, it hits you on a cellular level, so it's really good. So it penetrates, so it's going to get your cells opening up. Infrared is unbelievable. You just sweat, you drip sweat, and it really, really gets to really, really great for your cells. I love infrared. Absolutely love it.
Last one, and we're going to let you go. Clarence Beeks in our chat says, didn't Lowe field the kickoff on the Music City Miracle?
Absolutely, baby.
Tell us about the Music City Miracle. It was Frank Wycheck. It was Kevin Dyson. It was yourself. It vaulted you guys into the bowl, right?
Yes, absolutely. We're playing against the Buffalo Bills. 17 seconds left in the game. They're up by 2. And we have a play called the Music City Miracle, but it was called a home run throwback. I go to Frank Wycheck, and in practice, I could throw the ball and practice it to come to us. Every single week we practice that play. And I remember, like yesterday, it was like, okay, I didn't tell the whole team. I just went to Frank. I said, Frank, they're going to kick this ball short. Come get it. I didn't award everyone else. I just wanted me and Frank to be on the same page, where he knew what was going to happen. So now everyone else was like, because it kicked me, then they're like, oh, what is Lowe going to do? No, Frank, come get it. So ball's kicked. It comes it's like slow motion. The ball's coming to me. Krug. I put the hands close together. I said, I can't let this get out of the breadbasket. I catch it. I take a couple steps, run forward. Frank's right there, pitches it back to him. I make the block. I hear the crowd, oh, and it just erupts. And the place is absolutely so cool. So the place erupted, Larry. I mean, if you could be there and watch and feel the energy that was in that stadium, because right before that play, Larry, it was so quiet because they went down and scored and only left 17 seconds. It was so quiet in there, Larry, that I heard a sound. It was so quiet, I looked over in the corner because I heard a little sound. I saw a mouse pissing on a sponge, and you could hear it. It was quiet in there, Larry. But I'll tell you right now, the Music City Miracle lives on.
David Guzman says, Lowe, you're a class act. Stay safe out there. Lamore, little shout out for Lamore. David Douglas says, can't keep up with Lowe's energy. LOL, I love it. Hey, we got this one. BV50 says, Lowe, do you see Antonio Gates making the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I do. You look at Antonio Gates and look at the length that he played in the league and what he did. Tony Gonzalez got in without a doubt. Antonio Gates will get in. He was one of the lead tight ends, and he played for a long time, had some longevity. Hey, Larry, we got to do this again, brother. We got to maybe do this again next
week.
Hey,
man, I'm going to let you go right here. We got a bunch of people in the stream, but I just want to say I've been doing Niner pregame show on KMBR and now 95.7 The Game for a dozen years. I've never had more fun in any of those years with anybody as I have with you every Niner game, man. So I'm looking forward to it. When the Niners got the win, that meant me and Lowe doing another pregame. So, man, I will see you on Sunday at the Santa Clara Hilton. Dude, I love that you bring it, dude. You bring it, and you're real, and I hope we become lifelong friends, man. I really respect your commentary. I respect the hell out of your game. You know that.
Thank you.
But I love that we've become friends and that we're doing the show together. Thanks to Matt Nahagian and the people at 95.7 The Game. And Lo, I'll give you the final word, man. Great hour talking ball.
Yeah, it was a great hour, man, Larry, and we got to do it again. I totally love your energy, love the knowledge that you have for football, and, you've been around it forever, and you know what you're talking about. It's just great to banter back and forth. I love that we have good listeners, and I love the chemistry that you and I have, man. You're the best. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, brother. Cheers.
Sounds good, man. Have a good one.
Cheers.
There you go. Lo Neal. We'll take him out of the stream right there. He's awesome. He is absolutely awesome. And I meant it. I've worked with a lot of guys. There we go. I've worked with a lot of guys through the years, and they're all good guys. I mean, Merton Hanks, John Lund, Dennis Brown, Bubba Paris, many, Joe Nedney, lots of really, really good people. But, man, Lo is just so much energy, so much knowledge, so much passion. I just love it. I sit down, we do a 2.5 hour show. It goes by like that, because he's just bringing so much energy, and it's just a ton of fun. All right, so let's do this. Let's play the spots right here. We'll come back. We'll hit the chat, and then we'll get out of here. We got a big day planned. I'll tell you what we have planned on the channel coming up right after this.
Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, Telmetrix.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coach Emilio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number, 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. Often imitated, never equaled.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, No matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
So New York style sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, you know, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never going to deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
Hey, do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger with you on a busy Monday. All right, let's hit the chat. And we got a bunch of people in the chat. We got this one from Aussie Rules, 2 class acts, Larry and Lowe. And catch us on 95.7 The Game on Sunday leading into the Niner game. And I'm not sure exactly what time the game is. I think it might be 3:30, so we might be on at 2 o'clock, but we'll have more details on that in the next 24 hours or so. Kim says, if we can keep scoring in the first half, we're going to win it all. How about this? 49ers have a really good defense and improved special teams, and now they're scoring 35 a game offensively. So with Jimmy Garoppolo, love him, hate him, whatever, they couldn't beat Kansas City. They probably couldn't beat Buffalo. They couldn't score enough points. Now their offense can produce enough points, and their defense hopefully can keep the other team down. We're going to find out. Tony Montana says, great show. Thomas B says, that was a fun stream. Tony says, smash the like button. Yeah, we have over 300 people in the chat right now. Hit the like and subscribe. You know, we are at right now 11,109 subscribers to the show, and we just passed 10,000 like 5 days ago. So we've picked up 1,000, 1,109 new subscribers, or 109 new subscribers, I should say, in just or no, what am I saying? Over 1,100 in about 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. So the channel is growing by leaps and bounds, and I want to thank everybody who's in the stream right now for helping make that a reality. Now, what do I have going the rest of the day? At 3 o'clock, I'm going to be on with Grant Cohn. And let me just double check that. I believe it's 3 o'clock. I think it's 3 o'clock. Grant and I are going to be on today on his channel. So check that out. And that is going to be, 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, you'll catch me and Grant on the Cone Zone. That's coming up today. At 4:30, I'm doing a hit on the KTVU afternoon news, I would imagine. So check me out. I'll be doing a Zoom call here from the studio in the 4 o'clock hour. So I believe the show starts at 4 or 4:30, and it'll probably be closer to 5 that I'll be on. But yeah, check me out in that 4:30, between 4:30 and 5 on KTVU doing a hit there. Tonight we have Dallas and Tampa Bay. When that game concludes, I will join you for another live stream, and we'll bring in Dan Coach Emilio. We'll bring in Ryan Smith. I may even effort to get Jordan Elliott to join us. We'll see. I'm going to contact Jordan this afternoon, but that's coming up. And then tomorrow, we're going to be doing a live stream with Vish Kumaran on Vish's channel. Vish will be back on the Krueg Show channel on Friday. Also, later in the week, and I'm not sure if it's going to be Thursday or Friday, but we have a certain ex-Niner quarterback who will be joining us as well, and you won't want to miss that segment, I guarantee you. And I've also tried to run down Tim Ryan for MF because MF says, man, get me some T-Rock. And I love Tim. Tim is one of my boys. Tim's one of the guys I truly love. And I love talking ball with him, whether it's July in training camp and I'm sweating, or if it's on the field and the downpours coming and we're getting rained on. I can sit on an NFL sideline and chop it up with Tim and talk real ball with a former defensive tackle. And so I've reached out to him to have him on later this week as well. And hopefully we can get that going later this week. We're going to be doing a bunch of live streams really between now and game day. So keep it locked on the Krueg Show channel. If you are not familiar with what we've been doing, when this week, Niner media availability is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the game being on Sunday. And that means I'm going to be inside the locker room on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, getting interviews of 49er players and then bringing those interviews to the channel. So if you go to the Krueg Show channel on YouTube and click videos, you're going to see that I've got interviews with Dre Greenlaw, with Jordan Willis, with Robbie Gold. I mean, basically with the whole damn team, but just in the last week with those guys. And last I looked, I think the Dre Greenlaw video, which was really, really good, that interview, I think it's got like 10,000, 20,000 views. I mean, it's got a lot. I haven't checked lately, but it's a lot. It's a lot of views. So there's some really good stuff. Ray McLeod. I did a great interview with Ray. I thought it was great. Not my part, but his part. George Odom was fantastic. We've just done so many. Aaron Banks, we've interviewed him a number of times this year. So there's a lot of great Niner content, a lot of great Niner interviews, and we've edited them down into shorts, and then I'm putting some of them out on Instagram. So follow me at Sports Larry K on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Check me out. I'm putting out a lot of content, mostly Niner related right now because that's what people want. But we also do Warrior stuff. We do Giant stuff. We'll hopefully be doing an entire thing from spring training this year. So we got a lot coming up on the channel. The Caretakers, just thanks for coming on, Lo. Yeah, Lo is awesome. Absolutely love having him on. BV50, great show, guys. Jerry Melody says, awesome show. Planet Serpo says, Lo Neal is a legend. Clarence Beeks jumps in with the gambling community has varied opinions on the Music City Miracle. Yes. Johnny Tolbert says, hey, $1.99. Thank you, Johnny. Plant Feeder, just a shout out for Lo. Just a Lorenzo. Aussie Rules. Like the show. Great job, Larry. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, a lot of good stuff. We got this one from Jerry Melody says, I'm buying that sausage. There you go.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
You go. Or we can also have this little sausage nugget, which is one of my favorites.
Hey, Pasquale.
Yeah. So please do buy New York style Italian sausage and shop our sponsors, Dan Coach Emilio, Telmetrics.co, not .com, .co. And thanks to all of our sponsors for being a part of the Krueg Show. Johnny F. Groove says, Krueg Show blowing up. Man, we're having fun. We're having a lot of fun. I'm loving this medium of being able to kind of go face to face with the audience. And I want to do kind of what Grant has done on the Cone Zone and do a phone-in segment, maybe once a week, and have people join us that way. That would be really cool. I would love to do that. Mr. BMW Lotus, awesome. You were hustling. Larry, don't be lazy. Whatever you fucking do, boy, don't be lazy. I can hear Urbanik saying that to me right now in my ear. Bomber T, Larry is the top dog now. I don't know about that. Blowing up on YouTube. All right. Aussie Rules. Larry, hardest working guy in sports media. Appreciate that. Bomber T, you're a fan. I appreciate you, bro. Mr. BMW Lotus, if I did not work from home, I would not know of Larry. Thank you for your show. Thank you for your content. That is cool. I'm loving doing it. Brian says, thanks for being awesome, Krug. We got this one. Brady is 7-0 against the Cowboys. Niner for life. Throwing that little nugget in there. Aussie rules. Locked on the Krug show. You hear that, Cyrus Satsis? They're not just locked on Warriors. They're locked on the Krug show. Mr. BMW Lotus. I remember watching Larry a long time ago with that red head guy. I forget his name. Oh, you're talking about Rich Walkoff, the great Rich Walkoff, I believe. BV50, Larry, did you know KMBR great Pete Franklin? Yes, I do. I did, I should say. Can I tell you a brief story? I'm at KMBR, the beginning of my KMBR radio career, done scouting in the NFL with the Cardinals. It's now 1997. Bob Agnew hires me, puts me on the air, gives me the weekend show. I think Fitz had it in his deal where he only came on 7 to 10. So when the Giants played at night, they needed someone to do post game. So I did a weekend show, but then I also did post game for every non 7 to 10 show that Fitz was doing. So I was doing a lot during the week and on the weekends. So I was kind of the jack of all trades, doing a little bit of everything. But I used to joke with Agnew. He would call and say, "Hey, yeah, I got a shift for you. Can you do?" And before he would even say it, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm in. I'm there. I'm doing it." I was so ready to please. I was 27 years old. It was the station that I grew up in the Sunset District listening to at night, from Ken Dito to Ralph to Dave Newhouse. So absolutely any shift Bob offered me, I took. So he says, "I need you to fill in for Radnich." Radnich at that point is doing 12 to 2. Pete and Fitz are doing 2 to 4. I think 2 to 4. I think Tommy and Ralph did 4 to 7. This is way, way back. And I'm doing this show. I think it's going well, but it's like one of my first shows by myself in a big time KMBR Monday through Friday time slot. And I had very little experience. And I thought the show was going pretty good. And we go to a commercial break, and Pete Franklin ducks his head in, and he's like, "Hey, kid." And I look over. I go, "Hey, Pete, how you doing?" He's like, "You sounded fucking great, kid. You sounded fucking great." And I said, "Awesome." I said, "Pete, thank you so much. It means so much coming from you." He's like, "Keep it up, kid. Keep it up." And then he closed the door and walked away. And it's like I never really had the kind of relationship with Pete where I could tell him what that meant to me, but it meant everything to me. And I remember telling my friends, it's like, I didn't drive home that day. I floated home because up yours, Dallas, Pete Franklin gave me the sounding fucking great kid. Now, he may have been bolstering my ego because I was sounding so god awful that he wanted to give me a vote of confidence. That's also possible. Or he could have been genuine. I don't know. But I took it as he likes me. He's genuine. So Pete Franklin, loved Pete Franklin, loved listening to Pete Franklin, loved talking to Pete Franklin, had great respect for Pete Franklin. I feel very fortunate to say that I was at KMBR when guys like Pete and Gary and Fitz and T and all these guys were doing their thing and really on top. Johnny Tolbert says, "Here's a donation. Can Trey Lance be traded to Miami or the Ravens?" He can be traded to anybody at all. They can trade him. They can't trade him today, but they could trade him. If they decide that Brock Purdy is the future, they absolutely can trade him, and they can trade him anywhere they want. Who's going to want him? I think there's going to be a bunch of teams that are going to want him. I've looked at the quarterback class in detail already for this upcoming draft in April, and Trey Lance, in my opinion, should be, if not the number one quarterback in this draft, he should be number 2. Will Levis, and then him. I'd put him over CJ Stroud. I'd put him over the Alabama kid. I like him as a prospect more than I like those two guys. Mark Graves, how about some Trent Baalke? Oh man, I need a pull of water before I can do any Trent Baalke. because you got to really grind those vocal cords to do the Trent Baalke. All right, John Lund and I in training camp, we're doing the Niner pregame show. I said, Johnny, why don't we do an interview or two together? He's like, it's a good idea. Hey, there's Trent Baalke. We'll do an interview with Trent. All right. So now we start the interview. They had hardly any linebackers. They had like Gerald Hodges and Navarro Bowman. I said, Trent, Bowman's coming off of the injury. It was very serious. You have Gerald Hodges, but you really don't have a lot at inside backer. Does that concern you here in camp, your lack of depth at linebacker? And do you see yourselves adding a linebacker before the season starts? And he looks at me and he's like, Larry, we really like our linebackers. We think we've got a good group. They're really athletic. They're fast. They know our defense, and we really feel good about it. And I looked at Lund, and he looked at me, and we're like, that guy's fucking fired at the end of the year. There's no chance he makes it through the year. And by the end of the year, he was gone. Comrade Whiskers says Larry has that radio voice. His growth was inevitable. Thank you. Hopefully it's not just my voice that people want to hear, but yes, I appreciate the radio voice. We got this one from Mr. BMW Lotus. I want the Niners against the Bucks. I do too. I don't know where you guys are tonight. I want Dallas. Part of me, I want to see the Niners beat Dallas because I want to see, Dallas just, rolled up in a ball, and I want to see the Niners deal some violence to the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. But I'm also a little nervous because Dallas, if they get a lead with their pass rush and their corners, they could put a ton of heat on a young player in Brock Purdy, and who knows? Maybe speed him up to the point where he makes a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes. So maybe it's because the Niners already beat Tampa and it was kind of a beat down. Maybe it's because Tampa's already kind of an unbalanced offense with not a strong running game. But I'm rooting for Tampa tonight because I'm rooting for the Niners to go to the Super Bowl, and I think Tampa's an easier path. But you know what? If you said to me, how do you think it's going to go? I really believe that this is the way it's going to go. I think Dallas is going to get a win tonight. I think Dallas is going to beat Tampa in Tampa. I'm not wagering on it because I can't pick it. I'm rooting for Tampa, and I have, Brady's 7-0 against Dallas, and there's plenty of reasons to like Tampa. But I just think Dallas has an ability to score points that it's just this is a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup for Tampa. I don't think Tampa can keep up with Dallas, and I don't like the way Brady has looked this year. So I think Dallas wins this game. So I think Dallas is coming here next Sunday, and then I'm really convinced that the New York Giants are going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Why? Because the Giants are thinking very conservatively on offense. Run the ball. Let Daniel Jones pick up first downs with his legs. Saquon Barkley went for almost 6 yards a carry. He looks relatively fresh. I hate to say it, but this kid, Isaiah Hodgins, who, went to Berean Christian in Walnut Creek, has got great hands, and he's 6'4", and he runs good routes, and they're using him, and he's a chain mover. So they don't have a wide receiver that really scares you, but they've got a chain mover, and they've got a really good running game, and they got a quarterback who can pick up first downs with his legs. Now let's flip the card and look at them on defense. You got to double Kayvon Thibodeau. You got to double Dexter Lawrence. I'm always worried about any D-line where you got to double 2 guys because you can't double 2 guys. So what are you going to do? You're going to combo block Dexter Lawrence and let Kayvon Thibodeau work one-on-one against McGlinchey? Or are you going to double and chip Thibodeau and hope that the Niner interior of Burford, Banks, and Brendel can stand up to, Dexter Lawrence? Dexter Lawrence is strong, really powerful. So that's my concern. But I think it's going to be one of those things where we're going to be thrilled when the Giants beat Philly. Oh my God. Why? Because now there's no trip to Philly. And now, if the Niners get the win, Giants have to come here. Yeah, but you know what? Be careful what you wish for, because Dable's a damn good coach. The New York Giants are rugged as hell. They can run it. And they've got a quarterback who can run it. And now they found a receiver who's got sticky hands. Isaiah Hodgins hasn't dropped more than a ball or two all year. And he's 6'4" with long arms and good ball skills. So that worries me. The Giants worry me after watching them yesterday, to the point where I'm convinced they're going to beat Philly, and I'm a little nervous about what it's going to look like in the championship game at Levi's. And that is assuming the Niners win the next round, but I think they can run. I think it's a good matchup against Tampa or Dallas. I was really kind of happy Minnesota went down because, the Giants bottled up Justin Jefferson, but Cousins, when I've seen him, has looked great, and Jefferson's the best receiver going. So that one worried me. Even though Minnesota's defense is terrible, the Giants are a different challenge, but Dallas and Tampa, I think, are better matchups for the Niners than Minnesota. Why? Because the Niners have already beaten Tampa. I think they can put a lot of heat on Brady, dial up his speed. I think the 49ers have already kind of proven that they can conquer Tampa's defense, and they don't have a D-line that has two guys that have to be doubled. So I think the Niners can run it on Dallas. I think they can beat Tampa. So, and I was a little nervous about Justin Jefferson. So I'm happy the Vikings are out, and I think the Giants will go to Philly and beat Philly. But, and I like the Niners' chances against Tampa or against Dallas, but I'm a little nervous about the New York Giants coming to San Francisco in 2 weeks, if that's the way this thing shakes out. And then very nervous about, the Super Bowl, of course. Let's go to the super chat on this one. Green Glass Full makes a donation. He says, Lance for Sauce Gardner. There you go. That's how I feel about that in a heartbeat. Usually you trade the quarterback. You get, the quarterback got more value than everybody. But I'll tell you, what do the Niners really need? Like right now, if the draft were today and they were going to have this exact team coming back, except for whoever they drafted, they need another corner. They need another number one corner. They need to make Lenore their third corner and have him be the nickel. And I think, and move Jimmy back to free safety. And then I think you've got a better coverage team all around. So, yeah, would I take Sauce Gardner for Trey Lance? In a heartbeat. We got this one from Brian. He says, don't trade Trey. Having Trey, Jimmy, and Brock is a good problem. Yeah, you got to remember this. It's good for the Niners, but is it good for Trey if Brock's here as a backup? If Brock's here and Trey's the backup? If I'm representing Trey, I think I go to John Lynch and say, John, we love you. We love being here. Kyle, we love you. We love being here, but we need to play. I think you guys understand that. We're not going to publicly go forward with a demand and cut you off at the knees, but we're going to privately make this demand. Could you please trade us to somewhere where Trey can play from week one and be the number one guy all year? And I think that can happen in Washington. I think that can happen maybe in Minnesota. I think that can happen in Indianapolis. There's probably 5 or 6 the Jets, maybe the Dolphins might be looking for another quarterback. And then if I'm the Niners, I'm also thinking, if Brock Purdy is the real deal and I've got this stellar defense outside a corner, what do I need? I wouldn't mind that Michael Mayer kid out of Notre Dame. I mean, he's Gronk if I've ever seen it. I mean, he looks like Gronk. If you add a Gronk type tight end, and now you've got 2 tight end sets with Kittle and that guy, and you got Ayuk and Debo and McCaffrey and Mitchell and a young improving offensive line and, stacked defense. Yeah, the Niners could be a dynasty with a guy like Michael Mayer. So, yes, I'd be scared as hell to trade Trey because I believe in Trey. I just think it's going to take some time. But if I could get a serious return like Sauce or a number one pick that would turn into a guy like Michael Mayer, I'm doing it. I'm absolutely doing it. I'm not parking my Bentley in the garage and have it be my second car. It's just not cost effective. The Bentley's got to be your primary car. Oh, you bought a Bentley and now you got another car? Okay, time to sell the Bentley. And that's how I look at Trey. Mr. BMW Lotus says, Larry, have you noticed Purdy runs in circles when the pressure is on? Purdy needs to work on this issue. It's, you know what it is, Mr. BMW Lotus, is that he escapes out the back door with a quick pivot. So pressure in his face, he retreats and then pivots to the right or to the left and escapes. I don't know that that's something he needs to correct, because the one thing with Brock is he seems to have a pretty good handle on where the rushers are coming. It looks like frenetic, like he's running around wild, but when you really study it, he's not running around wild. He's got a real good plan on how to avoid the rush. So I think it's one of his strengths. You know, I think when you look at the Niners, they looked at Mahomes and they looked at Josh Allen and they said, those guys can make plays from the pocket and they have off-schedule ability. That's what we want. And so they drafted Trey Lance. But in reality, Trey Lance is still developing as a pocket player, and he's got running skills, but not necessarily running ability. He's got the ability to run, but he doesn't have a lot of experience. So he needs coaching and needs to be coached up. Brock Purdy, on the other hand, is a pocket passer, and he's got a 1.55 10-yard split, which is 95th percentile. So in a lot of ways, even though he doesn't look like Mahomes and he doesn't look like Josh Allen, in a lot of ways, Brock Purdy does a lot of the things that those guys do. He can make plays from the pocket. The ball comes out on time. He's very smart, very cerebral. He's got great timing, touch, and accuracy. But then he also has movement ability, like a Mahomes, like an Allen, to have that late in the down improv ability. And his improvisational skills are absolutely incredible. I mean, let's be honest. The biggest play in the history of 49er football was Joe Montana rolling right, finding Dwight Clark. There was some improv to that play, right? And there's some improv to what Purdy's done. And the two throws he's made in the corner of the end zone to Kittle, dimes, all off the improv. The play yesterday or Saturday where he tries to hit Ayuk, did hit Ayuk in the hands, and he dropped it. Improv, corner of the end zone. Not the initial read, not the way it was drawn up. So Mahomes does it, Allen does it, and now Purdy can do it. And the Niners have their guy. And that's why I would say of all the comments about Purdy, the one that resonates the most with me is from Nick Bosa, who said, we've got a quarterback. That was his way of saying Brock's the guy. Green glass full. Larry hated my super chat. LOL. No, not at all. You kidding me? Lance for Sauce Gardner? I love that super chat. I just don't know. We got other people in here who are like, why the hell are the Jets trading Sauce Gardner? I mean, there's a lot of people who think that that's pie in the sky. And I floated that out to somebody the other day who also said, we got this one saying, why would the Jets trade Sauce? He's one of the best in the league. Because they don't have a quarterback, and the quarterback they drafted in the top 5 is persona non grata, both in the locker room and in the media, and they're dying to get out from underneath them. Heck, the way they're going right now, firing coaches, Douglas, the GM's under fire, Salah's under fire. I'd draw a hard line. I'd say give me Sauce and Zach Wilson. I'll stash Zach Wilson, see if I can repair his value, and take Sauce as well. I did not hate your super chat. I loved not just your super chat. I love all super chats. That's very self-serving. Mark Salas says, Giants don't have anything that Philly doesn't have. Let's take the home game. Yeah. Well, I mean, Philly's got Hurts, and Philly's got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. My big concern with Philly is that the 49er D-line going against that Eagle O-line, that if they don't get pressure on Hurts, that Lenore and Charvarius won't be able to stand up down the field to Devontae and A.J. Brown. That's my number one concern. And I think it's justified. That's a concern. The All-Pro team, I was looking at the All-Pro team offensive line. Jason Kelsey, the starting center. Lane Johnson, the starting tackle for the Eagles. 2 of the 5 offensive linemen on the All-Pro team are Eagles. They got a really good offensive line. They got a really, really good offensive line. So, M. Morris says the draft is supposedly deep at cornerback. I love Clark Phillips from Utah, and I love Caillou Kelly as well. Caillou Blue Kelly from Stanford, probably be a day 3 pick. We got this one from Moon Man. Is that Greg Minton? Hey, Larry, what do you think about our pass rush? So inconsistent. I was at the game. I seen Bosa out of the game a lot. Well, they run a rotation. The Niners have a rotation. I love their rotation. It's Bosa and Ebukama, the starters. You got a Menahue, Jordan Willis, and you got Drake Jackson. And, of course, Kerry Hyder can play any spot on the D-line. So they're stacked. They got great teeth on their defensive front. The one thing I would say is I would make Drake Jackson active, because that's the teeth of your defense, is your outside rush. And Drake can bat down passes. He just gives you more depth up front. But he's sitting because Menahue is a monster and just came off of his career game. And Jordan Willis is a monster. Both those guys are playing phenomenal football. Ebukam's taking it to a different level, and Bosa's the best there is. We got this one from Salamander 337. Would you trade Trey for Zach Wilson as a backup? Of course, not straight up. Trey Lance is loved in the Niner locker room because he's a hard worker and a great kid. Zach Wilson is like persona non grata in the Jets locker room. I'm not making that trade straight up. They're under duress. They got the New York media. They don't have a quarterback. You do. I'll take Zach Wilson and then something. I want Zach Wilson in a second-round pick. I mean, right now, Zach Wilson they have to move on from Zach Wilson. You got the entire team of the Jets wearing Mike White T-shirts. Yeah, I'm not giving you Trey Lance for Zach Wilson. I'll give you Trey Lance for Zach Wilson and something else, but no way I'm making that trade straight up. We got this one from Max. He says, Larry, am I crazy to think the Niners would rather face the Cowboys than Brady, who is getting Ryan Jensen out and is the best playoff quarterback of all time? I don't know what the Niners think. I don't know who the Niners want. I know the Niners feel like they can run it on both teams. Tampa's defense might be a little bit tougher to run on. Dallas's defense is a little bit harder to come back on because they've got so much pass rush. And they got 3 or 4 really good pass rushers, and they've got, corners who are ball hawks. So I think Dallas is a little bit more talented. Also, Dallas can hang 35 on you, where Tampa cannot. The Niners are scoring 35 a game under Brock Purdy. So teams like Tampa that can't score like that, it would take penalties and busted plays all day and all night for Tampa to score in the mid-30s against this Niner D. Dallas, yeah, they don't have a big-time receiver after CeeDee Lamb, and their run game's a little dinged up, but they do have weapons. They do have Dak. They had some games this year where they've put up huge points. So I'm a little bit more worried about Dallas than Tampa. But at my core, I'm not really worried about either. Jedi says, Larry, you can plant the tray for sauce seed. Yeah, there you go. Just speak it into existence. As far as the channel is concerned, field goal, that like button, help the stream. Yeah, if you hit the like button, that will definitely help the algorithm and help more people find our show. If you hit the the subscribe button, you'll just get an alert every time we go live on the channel. And that's cool because we might go live like we did today in the morning or midday. We might go live in the afternoon. We may go live 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night after a Giants game, Warrior game, late night Niner game. So if you want to be alerted every time that we're going live, just hit subscribe. And we've picked up subscribers in a huge way in the last couple of weeks. I'll give you the up-to-date numbers. We passed 10,000 subs like literally about 10 days ago. We're now at 11,122. So if you're one of the near 500 people in the chat right now and you're not subscribed, I would love it if you would. I would absolutely love it if you would. If you would do that for me and subscribe to the channel, that would help grow the channel. Absolutely. So we really appreciate everybody. And then, of course, we also have a members only club, and I will do a members only video as soon as I'm done with this live stream for the members. And we just picked up a bunch of new members over the last couple of days as well. So I think it's like $4.99 a month, and you get all of our private videos and our locker room content before everybody else. So if you want to be a member of the Krueg Show, hit the like, hit the subscribe, or if you want to be an actual monthly member, you can hit join. And for $4.99 a month, you'll get all of our exclusive behind-the-scenes content. And we'll be adding more of that content in the days ahead. Comrade Whiskers says left tackle Malata. Oh, he's a monster. The left guard Dickerson. He was great at Bama. The center's Kelsey. The right guard's Barrett Brooks. The right tackle's Lane Johnson. It's one hell of an offensive line. Yeah, there's no doubt. It's arguably the NFL's best offensive line against the NFL's best defensive line. So bring it on. I mean, it's going to be great. Tisha Edmonds, can you do a mock draft? Oh, I will mock draft your ass to death. I'm going to do more mock drafts than you want. By the time we get to April, you're going to be like, if I got to see another Larry Krueger mock draft, I'm going to lose my ass. I mean, I will be doing some mock drafts for sure. And they're fun to do too. And some of the other Niner content creators on YouTube have done them with me in the past. And we just, we'll use either Pro Football Focus or Draft Network or one of these simulations and just go through it. Sometimes we'll make trades and all kinds of stuff. It'll be fun. We'll do a bunch of those in the springtime for sure. You can bank on that. In fact, the people who really know me know I'm going to do too many mock drafts, and you guys are going to be saying 3 months from now, could you stop doing mock drafts? But there, yeah, we will bring them. Brian says, hey, Krug, you going to spring training? I am planning to go to spring training and bring you content from spring training. Now, we're still searching for our accommodations and possibly a sponsor or two. So if anybody would like to sponsor our trip to spring training, feel free to contact me and we can get into that. But we are right now doing a deep dive on how to make that a reality. I would love to bring you Giants Clubhouse content every day in spring training. I mean, how freaking great would that be? It would be nice if Farhan would help out and actually put together a team that, I don't know, anybody gave a damn about. But we'd like to make the Giant thing a reality and get to spring training. We've got this donation from Scott. He says, hey, Larry, I just joined, but not showing. It's not showing that you joined? Oh, he says, wait a second here. Let me see here. So, yeah, okay. So I appreciate the super chat. When you do join, typically it gives you a kind of a green outline to your name. So it'd say Scott Hill and an outline of green. It may just take 24 hours. I'm not really sure. We'll see if maybe my producer can pop in here and give us some details on that. MF says, who is a sleeper offensive guard in the 5th round? A sleeper offensive guard in the 5th round? No, come on. MF, I have no life, but I do have a wife. I do have 4 kids. I am doing an awful lot on the channel, and it is January 16th. But if you ask me that question in 3 weeks, I'm going to have answers. Today, I could look at a list and fake it, but I don't do that. I don't look at lists and I don't fake it. Mark Graves says, mock it off. Mock it off. MF says, Farhan coming on the Krueg Show would be interesting. Farhan will appear on the Krueg Show in 2023. You have my absolute guarantee of that. He may not want to come on, but he will come on. Who wins tonight, Dallas or the Bucks? I'm rooting for the Bucks, but I'm picking Dallas, and I'm not betting it. So that's where I'm at. I've looked at all the numbers. I've looked at all the breakdowns. I think I can see Tom Brady beating Dallas. If I had to bet it, I would say Dallas's defense keeps Tampa down. Tampa's defense does a good job on Dallas's offense and go with the under. That's, in fact, if I'm going to wager anything on tonight, it will be on the under. That's how I see tonight's game. Brian says, I'll be going to a lot of spring training games, Krueg. Let us know when you're out there. Big fan. Brian, it'll be awesome. Love to sit out there on the berm, go to spring training, bring a bunch of content back, play a bunch of golf courses, hit a couple drinking spots at night. Just enjoy 2-3 weeks in the desert watching my favorite baseball team, which I can't even, they're my favorite team, but right now it's tough. I mean, let's be honest here. I'm honest with you. You're honest with me. The Giants are going to be a tough watch. I mean, they are going to, if they're really going Lamont Wade at first and Yaz every day in center, that is going to be a tough watch. And if they leave those guys off and those guys hit 1-2 at the top of the lineup, I think it's last place city. I mean, I'm serious. I forget San Diego and the Dodgers, forget Arizona, but you better start looking at Colorado at that point. If it's Wade and Slater and Yaz at the top of this lineup all season long, no way. I don't care who's pitching, what they're doing, what else they're doing. I don't care who's in the pen. They will lose. Niner Gang Wolfcast says, Krug, we should do a show together in the future. I would love to. Niner Gang, contact me, man. Just DM me. I do all kinds of shows. There's all kinds of Niner content creators that are just getting started that reach out to me and say, hey, man, will you come on my show? I go on all of them. I go on all of those shows. Why? Because that's what I like to do. I like to talk Niners with Niner fans. So, yeah, absolutely. Niner Gang Wolfcast. Best way, follow me on Twitter and DM me and, give me your contact. I'll contact you. We'll set up a time and we'll make it happen. I'm super busy this week. But starting next week, I'm pretty much wide open and I'll squeeze you in anywhere I can. And any other Niner content creator, if you're watching this and you're saying, hey man, love it if Krug would come on my show, worry not. I mean, bank me, bank on it. I'm there. You want me on your show? I'm on your show. I did a show with like a 12-year-old from like 5 states away at like 10 o'clock at night. And he had like 17 followers. I mean, it was awesome. He was like 12 years old. I'm like, what grade are you in? He's like, I'm in the 7th. I'm like, that's awesome, man. That is freaking awesome. So I really enjoy talking with the people that I love and talking about a topic that I love. Jaime or Jamie says, what's Trey's thoughts and energy around Brock right now? Trey's a great guy. And when I say that, I mean, he's a great guy. He's got a mom and a dad and a brother and he comes from a phenomenal family and he's really mature and he's really smart. So Trey loves Brock and is treating, I mean, he probably hates that Brock has evolved to this point and now may force him to go elsewhere potentially. He probably hates that reality, but Trey's awesome. Trey's there. One of the reasons that I'm so confident that Trey's going to make it is because he's got all the traits that it takes physically, mentally, emotionally, commitment wise, how important football is to him. He's going to be good. It's going to take time, but I guarantee if the Niners trade him, there's going to be a price to be paid on the back end for whatever team trades for him because he's going to get there. He's not there now. We all can see it. He's raw. He needs reps, but he's going to get there. He's going to work. He's going to work at it. He's going to get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. One NFL scout who I'm good friends with, who used to be a GM, told me that he would not have even had Trey anywhere on his draft board because of how little he played at North Dakota State. So that was an eye opener for sure when I heard that. But that's how some of the people in the personnel world feel about Trey Lance, that he's a good prospect that has traits, but if it was all based on his college film, he wasn't a first round, second round, third round pick. He was a day 3 guy. If it was just off of college film, when you look at how little there was of it and the level that he was at, and now the level he's jumping to. So the Niners probably overdrafted. They probably made a mistake in what they gave up. But I really believe that the only thing is I wouldn't know what to say to Trey. Like, if I was his advisor, would I advise him to stay? In one hand, I would, because this is a great organization. Shanahan's a terrific play caller. Look at these weapons, and come on. I mean, he's got to beat out somebody, and in this case, he'd have to beat out Brock Purdy. So on one hand, I would say Trey, stay, because there's so many good attributes to playing in San Francisco, and this is where you want to be. But then I look at Brock and I say he's 23, and he's almost impossible to sack right now. So it doesn't seem like he's, knock on wood, going to get hurt anytime soon. So I don't know. I think if I were, if I was Trey's dad, I would say, Trey, I know you love it here, but you got to take a real hard look on where could you go and play, because we don't want to be 28 and not having played. And granted, he's not anywhere close to 28, but you know what I'm saying? You don't want to get 5 years into your NFL career when you didn't play a lot in college, and then especially during the lost year due to the pandemic. And then, like, the last thing Trey needs is to sit and sit and sit and sit. He needs to play. But are the 49ers going to give him that ramp up? I don't see it. So he probably has to be moved on. But damn, you're not trading him for nothing. You better sure as hell get something really great in return, or I wouldn't do it. I guess one plan could be bring Trey back, let Trey and Brock be the quarterbacks next year. Say no to Brady. We'll let Jimmy leave in free agency, because that's what's going to happen. And then maybe you take next year, and if Trey plays at all in the preseason or plays off the bench behind Brock, that maybe he builds some value with how he plays in those windows, and maybe you trade him the following off season. But I think you owe it to Trey, because he is a good kid, to talk to him and find out, where's your head? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be here no matter what? Do you want to be here only if you're the starter? Do you still want to be here if you're not the starter? What if Brock is undoubtedly the starter? Do you still want to be here? Are you going to be a good soldier about things? Or are you going to complain? What I don't want is, I don't want you to tell me that you want to be here, and then in week 3, 2 weeks before the trade deadline, you, through your agent, make a public trade demand, saw me off at the ankles, and create a situation where I have no leverage. I've got a time frame. I've got a small window to move you. I've got a small number of interested teams, and I potentially, if I don't trade you, I'm looking at a divided locker room. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in that spot. So if I'm Lynch, I think I would communicate that. I don't want to be in a bad spot, but I'm sensitive to, you want to do what's best for your career. You tell us what's best for you. The worst case scenario is that he says, hey, I want to stick it out. And you have 2 quarterbacks who are both 22, 23, battling it out. And you may have a divided room. You may have some unhappy feelings, but you have 2 good young quarterbacks that don't, and you'd have one of the cheapest quarterback rooms in the entire league. You know what I mean? So there's reasons to sit there and say, yeah. It's like when people say, oh no, bring Trey back, and him and Brock next year. All right. That's good for the Niners. But is it good for Trey if he's not the starter? Is it good for Brock if he's not the starter? I don't know. So that's where it starts to get a little bit complicated. MF says Lamont Wade Jr. is just not an everyday player. I'm not convinced he's a major league player, and I'm not running him down. I liked late night Lamont a couple years ago, but I mean, he had no on-base percentage last year. He had no batting average. He's not a good defensive player. He's not fast. He doesn't hit home runs. I mean, what would you say you do here? Scott Davidson makes a donation. He said, thanks for the great answer to tonight's game. Well, I'll give you what I can. Let's see. We got Sean Tuber says, hi, Larry. Hi, Sean. And then he goes on to say, or she goes on to say, I'd like to see Purdy beat the Cowboys. He says cowgirls, or she says cowgirls. I never know. There's Sean SHAWN could be girl or boy. That's how Estes spells his first name, but that could be a man or a woman. Brian says, who do you think comes out of the AFC? Hate to say it, Kansas City. The other takeaway from this weekend is Buffalo at home against Skylar Thompson, won by 3. I think Kansas City's getting out of the AFC. I think we're getting the rematch of Niners-Chiefs. And I don't want that, but that's what I think is coming our way. So I think we're getting Niners-Chiefs, folks. Garland Boggs says he just became a YouTube member. There you go. I always give a little clap. Let's see. Maybe we'll go to the audience for the cheers today. Do we have some good sound bite of? There's got to be. Here we go. Let's see here. My cheers are one thing, but let's go with some real applause. All right, Garland, thank you, man. And we will produce content for Garland Boggs, member content, and we'll try to do that every single day. And a lot of them are just going to be little videos of me saying what's coming up on the channel, but you'll get that one-on-one dialogue with me if you become a member, and he has. We'll get this one from Niner Gang. Wait a second. No, that moved on me. I was doing the super chat there, and it moved. Here we go. Man, the super chats are coming in. Andrew Menard makes a donation. He says, the only way I see Dallas losing tonight is if Dak throws more than one pick. Dak's got 11 picks in the last 7 games. 11. I mean, that's a major problem for Dallas. I look at Dallas and I think, you know what? They got a lot of talent and they're going to lose, and McCarthy's going to lose his gig. I don't know. I just get the feeling that McCarthy's gone and Sean Payton's going to be the coach of the Cowboys. And then I think we all may have to collectively worry. You know what I mean? Because if Sean Payton gets down there with all the weapons, Dallas under Will McClay have drafted very well. Micah Parsons and several other guys in the last few, you know, they drafted some DBs this year that I thought were pretty good. You know, they're a good team. And they've got good talent. And talent is not the issue. Their issue is coaching, I think, and probably Jerry and his kid. So, you know, I personally, you know, I think Sean Payton going to Dallas is going to be the move that makes them a Super Bowl contender. And then we may get, you know, wouldn't it be ironic if the Niners wind up in a Super Bowl window and there are the Cowboys with Sean Payton looking like a monster right there, standing between you and multiple Super Bowl berths. You know, Jimmy Johnson, I feel like Jimmy Johnson probably cost the 49ers 3 Super Bowls. You know, definitely the Niners won in 94, but I think the Niners could have won in 95. I think the Niners could have won in 92. I think the Niners could have won in 93. I think it was Dallas and the Niners were the 2 best teams. So, 420 Savage puts a good one out here. He says Jim Harbaugh in Dallas would be scary. Yeah. Shh. I can't believe that Jim Harbaugh could stomach Jerry and his kid. And I don't think that they could stomach him. So I'm going to say that won't happen. Armando says Sean Payton won't want to work with Jerry. I know. Seriously. This is a good one too. Gold-blooded says, imagine a world where Jerry Jones or Jim Harbaugh get instructions from Jerry on how to run his team. No way. No way. Armando says Sean Payton to Arizona. It's another bad organization. Are you telling me? I thought Sean Payton was like one of the hottest names out there. He's suddenly going to go to Arizona. I don't think I'm going to. If I'm a head coaching candidate and I've got choices, I'm not going to Arizona. No way. No way. All right. That's going to do it for us. At 3:00, it is now 2:00. So an hour from now, join me on Grant Cohn's channel. We'll break it down. We'll talk a lot more in detail about this 49er game. And then tonight, after Monday Night Football, after Tampa and Dallas, we will know who the Niners are playing. And join me on the live stream. Dan and Rye will be along as well. Should be really good. Tomorrow, I'm doing a deal with Vish on Vish's channel. Vish will be back with me on my channel on Friday. So we got a lot of good stuff. And then later in the week, look for a certain 49er quarterback to potentially join me. G-Code Travels Vlog POV, which always just rolls off the tongue. Did Jimmy Ward own up to his late hit? You know what? I haven't talked to Jimmy yet. I'm planning on talking to him tomorrow. I'm going to ask him about it. I am. I know he's already kind of said that he thought it was the right thing because I think he was trying to set a tone. It cost the Niners points. If it hadn't cost the Niners points, I'm with Jimmy. The fact that it cost the Niners points means it was not smart and cannot be replicated, and we can't see it again. But I'll say this. I love Jimmy Ward, and I think Jimmy Ward is one of the smartest damn football players I've come across in years. And if anybody went down, if Charvarius went down, I'd put in Jimmy Ward. If Hufanga went down, I'd put in Jimmy Ward. If Gibson went down, I'd put in Jimmy Ward. If Azeez Al-Shaair went down, I'd put in Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy Ward can play almost anywhere. He's tough enough to play linebacker. He's fast enough to play corner. He can play the nickel. He can play, he can really do it all. I mean, he can play the slot. He can deal with that two-way break. He plays past the whistle. He's a violent guy who loves to hit. I did an interview with him. In fact, I would encourage all of you to go onto the Krueg Show YouTube channel. MF says, Trent Baalke pick. We really like Jimmy Ward. We saw him in Northern Illinois. We wrote his name on a cocktail napkin, and I put it in an envelope, and that's how we drafted him, Larry. Anyway, yeah, credit Trent Baalke. Trent Baalke, you can say whatever you want about Trent Baalke. He's a pretty good personnel guy. He really is. Yeah, he drafted a lot of guys like Marcus Lattimore with terrible ACL issues and, DeAndre Smelter and terrible receivers through the years. But you know what? Outside of drafting wide receivers, Trent Baalke he drafted DeForest Buckner. How good was DeForest? He drafted a number of the top Niner players. Him and McLuhan were a terrific personnel combination. Scott McLuhan's another guy. Huge personnel evaluator. I'd pay that guy money in the springtime to consult with me. That's how much I think Scott McLuhan knows about player personnel. G-Code Travels Vlog POV donates another donation. He says, did Jimmy G teach Purdy the quarterback sneak? I think, Purdy played 4 years in the Big 12 and probably had to quarterback sneak a number of times. So there you go. Niner Gang Wolfcast says, your Baalke impersonation is on point. Thank you, Niner Gang. We really appreciate Niner Gang Wolfcast. All right. Now I got to get another drink of water, man. In fact, I got to pull one here. Actually, Mark Graves, I'm singing the praises of Trent Baalke. He drops Kentwan Balmer. That's a little bit of a mic drop right there, the Kentwan Balmer. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for us. I want to go do a couple things before the live stream with Grant in an hour. Join us at 3:00 on the Cone Zone. Join us after Tampa and Dallas tonight. Danny and Rye will be along. I think I'm going to invite Jordan Elliott, see if we can get his breakdown. I haven't talked to Jordan in a few weeks. MF says you guys should interview Mitch Wishnowsky. All right, we will. We'll take that from you, MF. You've donated so much through the years, and you've been such a good, loyal follower of the Krueg Show. I will go up to Mitch Wishnowsky. I will say, Mitch, one of our biggest fans, MF, says he wants you on the show. Do you have time? And if Mitch is in the room, Mitch will do it. So he's a really cool guy. Mark Graves says, you're the best, Larry. Mark, you're the best. Thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to the sponsors. Until 3:00 on Grant's channel, I'm out.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah, we ain't never fall back. Hold our ground.